My dear friends, this video is dedicated to summarize the Geography NCERT Class 6. Okay, each and every topic that we have to study in this Class 6 NCERT Geography, we have already covered in very minute details. Okay, you can go through all the videos that we have on this channel and you will be able to understand each and every topic in a very comprehensive way. Okay, what we will do in this video is that we will just have an overview of what are the topics that we have to study in the separate chapters that we have. Okay, the first chapter is the Earth in the solar system, and we have to know about the solar system in which the Earth is a part. So basically, when we talk about solar system, we talk about the sun and the 8 planets that we have in the solar system, namely Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and also it includes the asteroids that we have between Mars and Jupiter. And also we will be talking about the various natural satellites that is orbiting around the different planets. Okay, and we will also we have also to study about meteoroids and all those things. Okay, these are all the part of solar system. Okay, now when we talk about planets, there are 8 planets in our solar system. Okay, as you can see on your screen, the first 4 planets which are nearest to the sun are called the inner planets or the terrestrial planets. The reason why they are called terrestrial planets is very simple, that they are made up of some solid structure, like we will find some sort of mountains or hills on these planets. These inner planets, when we talk about, comprises of first 4 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. They are very small planets when we compare to the other 4 planets that we have in the solar system. Okay, the third planet is the Earth, on which this is the only planet on which some form of life is existent. Okay, there is no other planet in the solar system or elsewhere that we know where life exists, even in microscopic form. Okay, so Earth is the only living planet, okay, that we know. Okay, Venus is called Earth's twin because of its size. As if you can see, the size of Earth and the Venus is almost similar. Okay, and then is the 4th planet, which is Mars, which is almost half or 1/3 of the size of the Earth. Okay, the Mars is the the 4th planet, and it is the last planet of this inner planets. Okay, then the Mars and Jupiter, the Jupiter, which is the 5th planet, is the largest planet in the solar system. As you can see, it is of the biggest size. Okay, and it is the first planet after the asteroid belt. So this asteroid belt is comprising of asteroids which are nothing but basically some rock debris or the rocks that are there in between Mars and Jupiter. Okay, now the 4 planets that are beyond this asteroid belt are called the outer planets or the Jovian planets. Jovian planets meaning they look like Jupiter or they are like Jupiter. Okay, they are also called gas planets because we will not find any hard structure on these planets. Okay, so these are mainly made up of gases. Okay, they are made up of gases, and so they are called gas planets. Okay, so and one more thing that we have to study in this chapter is the ring structure that we found in the last 3 planets of the solar system, that is Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. Okay, so this was a brief introduction. Then we have to study about galaxy. So what is galaxy? Basically it's a huge system of billions of stars. Okay, and the galaxy to which our solar system belongs to is called the Milky Way galaxy. In Hindi it is called the Akash Ganga. Why Akash Ganga? Because it looks like a Ganga that is flowing in the Akash, so it's called Akash Ganga. Then this is the summary. This was a summary of the first chapter. Then we have the second chapter, in which we have to study about globe, latitudes and longitudes. So first come first, what is globe? A globe is basically nothing but a true model of the Earth. Okay, as you can see this globe, it is basically a miniature form of the Earth. Okay, so globe can be of any spherical body and any spherical celestial body. For example, we can have also a globe of moon, we can have globe of Mars also, if we know about in detail the structure of or the surfaces of the Mars that we have. okay, if we can map the mass. Okay, then we have to study about what are the latitudes and longitudes. Okay, so latitudes are basically the parallel circular lines that we draw horizontally on a globe. Okay, so these are horizontal lines. For example, equator is what? Equator is a latitude, and Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, these are all what? Latitudes, because these are parallel lines. These are horizontal parallel lines. Okay, then we have longitudes. Longitudes are basically semicircular lines that originate from one pole and terminates at the other pole. So these are longitudes. Okay, so these are semicircular lines. One basic difference between latitudes and longitude is that latitudes are parallel to each other and longitudes are not parallel, because they emanate from one pole and they terminate at the other pole. So what happens is that in the middle they tend to widen. Okay, the distance between two longitudes widens at the middle of the globe. Okay, so this was the basic difference that we have to know in this chapter. Then we have to study about some important parallels of the latitude, and in this we have to study about some parallels of latitude, including equator, which is basically a line, that an imaginary line that divides the globe into two equal halves. The first half is the northern hemisphere and then is the southern hemisphere. Okay, then there is another line which is just parallel to the equator in the northern hemisphere, that is called Tropic of Cancer, and this is 23.5 degree north. Equator is assigned 0 degree because it's a standard line. It is the standard, it is the what we call, it is a standard from which, it is the reference line from which we measure the our position with respect to this line only when we go either northward or southward. For example, if you travel something above the equator, so we generally describe that path from taking equator as what? A standard or a reference line. Okay, so Tropic of Cancer is basically a line which is 23.5 degree north of the equator. Okay, similarly Arctic Circle is 66.5 degree north of equator and North Pole is 90 degree north. Similarly in the southern hemisphere we have Tropic of Capricorn, which is 23.5 degrees south of the equator, and Antarctic Circle which is 66.5 degrees south of the equator, and then is the South Pole which is 90 degree south of the equator. So equator is basically a reference line, okay, from which we have we make idea of where we are in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. Okay, so these were some important parallels of latitude. Then we have to study about heat zones of the earth. So we know there are three heat zones that we have on the earth. The first is the torrid zone, which is basically the area in between 23.5 north and 23.5 degree south, means Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. In between these lines we have torrid zone. This is the area which receives most maximum amount of heat on the earth. Okay, so what happens is that sun's rays are directly overhead at least once in a year at all these places in this zone. So this is the maximum, this is the area where maximum amount of heat is received on the earth. Then is the temperate zone, where the sunlights are not so much direct, they are little slant, so not much heating takes place in this zone. Then is frigid zone, where sun rays are very much slant, so not very much heating takes place on the surface of the earth, and so this area is permanently freezed. So this is an area which is beyond Arctic Circle in northern hemisphere and Antarctic Circle in southern hemisphere. So these were the three heat zones that we have on the earth. Okay, then is the chapter 3, which describes about motions of the earth. Basically the first topic that we have to study in this chapter is the circle of illumination. Okay, this is the sun, that is the yellow spot that you see on the left side of your screen. This is the sun, and the light coming from the sun is only able to illuminate the only one half of the earth, and the other half remains in dark. So this imaginary line which separates the brighter side to the darker side is called the circle of illumination. Okay, so this was the idea of circle of illumination. And then we have to study about seasonal configuration of earth and the sun. We know because of the revolution of the sun in an elliptical orbit, there is change in season on the earth. Okay, so on 21st June is what happens in northern hemisphere is a phenomena called summer solstice, which means the day is longest and the night is shortest in the northern hemisphere. Okay, what happens is that sun's rays fall directly on the Tropic of Cancer on this day, so it makes 21st June the longest day in the northern hemisphere and shortest night in the northern hemisphere. Now similar phenomena happens on 22nd December but in southern hemisphere. What happens in northern hemisphere? Then there is a winter solstice. Winter solstice means night is going to be the longest and day is going to be the shortest. Okay, what happens? Tropic of Capricorn receives the direct sunlight on this day. Okay, and then in between these two positions are 21st March and 23rd September, which are called the equinox. This is a phenomena where day and night are equal on the every part of the earth. Okay, then there is another point which is called the Arctic Circle. The area beyond this Arctic Circle from 21st June to 22nd December receives sunlight for continuous six months. Okay, similarly this area which is beyond Antarctic Circle remains in dark, okay, from this 21st June to 22nd December. So there is a 6-month day and 6-month night in Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. Okay, so this is a phenomena that we have to study in this chapter. Then is the chapter number 4, which is about maps. So basically 3 types of maps we have to study in this chapter, which are physical map or also called relief map, which basically describes about some form of physical features of the earth. Okay, which aims to explore about or describe about the physical features of the earth, for example plateau, rivers, mountains, etc. Then we have the second type of map, which are called political map, in which we represent the boundaries of the states or the countries. Okay, then we have the third type of map, which is called thematic map, which focuses on a specific information, for example roads that we have in a particular town, or the rainfall that we receive in a particular area or a country, or the natural vegetation that is there in the area. So these are thematic maps. Then is the chapter number 5, which is about major domains of the earth. Okay, the first thing is about the 3 different domains that we have on the earth. The first is the lithosphere, which is the solid part of the earth. Then we have the hydrosphere, which is the liquid part of the water part. Okay, the water, the area which contains water on the earth. Okay, then is atmosphere, which is the gaseous part. Okay, now when these hydrosphere, these 3 domains, the primary domains hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere, the area where these 3 domains interact with each other is the formation of a different area which is called biosphere. This is the area, this is the domain where life exists on the earth. Okay, so what is biosphere is a very important topic that we have to deal in this chapter. So basically it is the domain where all the 3 primary domains, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, interacts with each other. Okay, and this is the only zone where life exists. Okay, because for existence of life, water, soil and air, all these 3 things are required. In absence of any of these things, life is not possible. So the biosphere is the only domain where all these 3 elements of life are possible, are available. Then we have to study about continents. We know there are 7 continents on the earth. Okay, here is a trick that we have to remember, so that you can easily remember which continent is the largest, or you will be able to arrange the continents according to their size. So this is about this trick, which we have already dealt, and we have also a separate video on this trick, so I am not going to describe this topic. Then we have to study about Asia, which is the largest continent on this earth, which holds about 30% of the total land area that we have on the earth, and also 60% population that is on the earth lives in Asia only. So basically Asia is the largest continent, both in terms of land that it has and also the population it has. Okay, then we have to study about oceans. We have a trick called PASA, and through this trick you will be easily able to remember the different continents according oceans according to their size. Okay, we have a separate video on this, so we are not going to describe it here. Okay, then chapter 6 is major landforms of the earth. So mountains, we have to study about mountains. So basically mountains are of three types: fold mountains, for example Himalayas and Alps, which have been formed because of convergent boundaries, the two boundaries that have converged, or they have came closer to each other, and this led to the formation of fold mountains. For example Himalayas in India we have, Alps in Europe we have. Then there are block mountains, which are basically example Rhine Valley in Europe is example block mountain. What happens is that the crust part of the earth gets deformed, and so block mountains formed. Okay, so one part of the lithospheric crust get uplifted and the other part set down, so this led to the formation of block mountain. So we have example in Rhine Valley, Europe. Then there are volcanic mountains, which are result of the volcanic eruptions that take place time to time. For example Mount Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania. The eastern coast of Africa we will find Tanzania, and there is Mount Kilimanjaro. Then Mount Fujiyama in Japan, this is also a result of volcanic mountain. Okay, this is also a result of volcanic eruptions that came out in the form of lava on the earth. Okay, then is the chapter number 7, which is about our country India. So 7 countries that share land boundaries with our country India are the countries that are Pakistan. First is the Pakistan, then is the Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. These are the countries that share land boundaries with the earth. Okay, so this is very important to understand. These are the only 7 countries with which we share land boundaries, and there are also some maritime neighbors. For example Sri Lanka, Maldives, these are maritime neighbors. Then what are the major physical divisions that we have in India? So these are the parallel lines that you can see on the northern part of India are the Himalayan ranges. So the first major physical division that we have in India is the Himalayas, or the northern mountains. Then we have the second number, which is Gangetic Plain, basically the northern plains, which start from here Punjab and terminates at Assam. Then we have the third physical division called the desert area, the Great Indian Thar Desert. Then the fourth is Peninsular Plateau region. Then fifth is the coastal plains, which starts from Gujarat and terminates at Odisha or Bengal. Then we have sixth the islands, which consists of 2 island groups, the Andaman and Nicobar, and then Lakshadweep. Okay, so these were the major physical divisions that we have on the earth. So now this chapter 8 is about, this is the last chapter in this geography NCERT class 6. So this is about India, the climate in India, the vegetation in India, and the wildlife that we have in India. So 4 major seasons that we have in India are winter season, which starts from December and terminates in February. Then is summer season, which starts from March and then to April and then ends in May. Then we have southwest monsoon, which is the most important season of our country, which is a very decisive season in the sense that it greatly influences our way of life. And actually the climate of India is called monsoon type climate only because of this dominance of southwest monsoon in our climatic conditions. Okay, so it starts from June and terminates at September. So the arrival of this moisture laden wind from the Indian Ocean brings much of the rainfall in India, and so this is very important for agriculture and the livelihood that is there in most parts of our country. Then is the retreating monsoon season, which is also called as autumn season, which starts from October and ends in November. Then we have to study about Mansing Ram, which is basically a small village in Meghalaya which receives maximum amount of rainfall in this world. So basically it is the wettest place on the earth because of its location. It is located on Khasi Hills. So what happens is that whenever monsoon winds come in this area, this wind get trapped in between 3 hills, and maximum of amount of rainfall happens in this area, which is called Mansing Ram, a small village in Meghalaya. Okay, so I think I have broadly covered each and every topic. To get about every topic in detail, you have to watch my lectures on these chapters, which are available on this channel. Okay, this is just a summary, so I haven't explained very much. I haven't emphasized on each and every topic, and I haven't provided detail. If you want to have some detailed idea, you have to watch my lecture on these chapters. Okay, thank you.